Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and let's talk about Frank Millard, because the reason why I want to talk about Frank Millard is because he had released some god-awful artwork. Wolverine, Blade, The Thing, Moon Knight, and these are supposed to be covers that look like hot trash in a body bag. Like, no, absolutely not. I don't understand, how do you unlearn how to damn fucking draw? Honestly, like, it makes no sense from his 80s work to, and then you look at his 80s work, and you look at his 2023 work. How the hell do you devolve from art? Like, it makes absolutely no logical sense on how terrible his artwork has gotten. I know people talking about, well, he had medical issues or whatever. That's great and all, but most artists improve, because if you look at his 2023 work, you would think that his work, his 1980s work would be his today work, and his 2023 would be when he first started in the industry. Absolutely is not. And then some people are trying to say, well, this is his style. It's been his style for a long time. Yes, and for 20 damn years, fans been saying the shit's ugly. The shit is ugly. Like, there's not enough, oh, well, in the 80s, yeah, we get it. In the 80s, he had good work. But now, it's the fucking 2020s. Every artist got better. How the hell do you regress and unlearn how to fucking draw? And then you're going to try to charge people more money for this? Like, are you kidding me? It is absolutely ridiculous. Like, no, we are not doing this right now. It is absolutely unnecessary why Frank Millard's work looks like this. And then they want to be like, oh, it's legendary. What's legendary? Because honestly, if that's the case, I need all y'all to go on my page. I did a Wolverine piece a while back on my Instagram. I want you to look at that, and I want you to go and buy it then. For, I think the rating go for like $10 or something like that for variant covers. So I did a Wolverine piece. It's colored, and there's a sketch version of the character. So $10, please. Oh, what's that? No, you're not gonna pay for it? Oh, okay. Because I'm no name, or because you think it's ugly, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Because if this was anybody else, if this was any other editor, they would have never let us turn in work like that at all. Sloppy. It is sloppy. It is sloppy. It is trash. There is no excuse for his work to be that goddamn horrible at all. And I just don't get it. I really do not understand what y'all thinking about when y'all do stuff like this. It just makes absolutely no logical sense. It really doesn't. And y'all should be really should be ashamed, honestly, to let somebody like that, I mean, to let Frank Millard draw, knowing damn well his old ass need to sit the fuck down with the bullshit. And then let's even then, because some people were like, well, why do you think he's returning to do art for Marvel when, he's been trashing Marvel and DC for years, as an old bastard? You know what I'm saying? You got legendary work, they pay you for your work, and you still bitter about one damn thing. Like, motherfucker, if I can get constant money from anything I do, I'm taking it. I don't give a damn, because I'm making a lot of money from it. You still complaining about bullshit. I'm not accepting shit. Grow the fuck up. Honestly, grow the hell up, Frank Millard. But anyway, the reason why I want to talk about this is because CBR did an article saying that Frank Millard's Wolverine spotlights the inflexibility of fandom's view of comic book art. Frank Miller recent Wolverine variant cover demonstrates the inflexibility that the comic book fandom has when it comes to a form of comic book art. And this is by Brian. Hey, Brian. Hey, yeah. Moron. Comics book art has evolved over time, right? Comic books are now about $5 on average. Variant covers go for like 10, 20, depending on what it is and depending on who the person is, right? So when you're asking us to drop that much money for a sloppy ass piece of shit, we gonna have problems. And honestly, we've been had problems with Frank Miller's artwork. Yes, art is subjective, but most people have agreed that Frank Miller's new work after the 80s have been hot trash for years. For years. But let me go into another thing too. Is another thing, because people keep wondering, why is Frank Miller, doing this right now? And I believe the reason why he's doing all of this right now is because his comic book company, Frank Miller Presents, the comic books that Dan and Neo and him are working on, isn't doing well. Because remember, he might be legendary, but he's legendary for certain stories from DC and Marvel, and maybe some early work, but he should have capitalized that, like Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, and Todd McFarlane did when they first started out. He didn't do that when he first started. You know what I'm saying? He didn't do that when he was at the height of his popularity. He waited until after his popularity died down and his artwork got terrible. Now you want to do a company? Yeah, that's great that you finally got some artists doing it, but you don't hold the name like that. Just because your name is Frank Miller don't mean anything, because your comic books that you release under Frank Miller Presents don't even make the top 200. Because you want to know why? Because nobody gives a damn. And on top of that, the years of your shenanigans, your antics, have turned people off. So now you crawl back to Marvel and DC and do a little bit of variant cover because it's a big old paycheck. Because cover artists get a big check from doing variant covers. Why do you think J. Scott Campbell keeps doing it? Because that way you go on your website and be like, oh, I did this Wolverine piece. That's not even worth nothing much of nothing. Comic book, another thing is that y'all think that as comic book fans, we should just supposed to automatically accept wherever the hell is given to us. No, that's not how that fuck this shit work. First off, comic books is a visual media, and you're asking us to put a lot of money down for bullshit ass artwork, including Frank Miller. Oh no, I think not. I don't give a damn who it is. If the work's terrible, the work's terrible, legendary or not. And it's ridiculous that y'all think that we're supposed to just automatically be okay with that and talking about it's the inflexibility. No, it's just that we know terrible ass artwork when we see it. Just like Raleigh Rosmo's art was fucking terrible on damn fucking Tim Drake Robin. No, I'm tired of these damn artists that they keep getting out of nowhere, legendary or not. Give us sloppy ass artwork and then have the nerve to try to tell people like me that my artwork is terrible when I know I can goddamn draw. I know I'm not the best artist, but I know my ass can damn draw better than this bullshit, and I bet you I could have made a better Wolverine variant cover than Frank Miller at this time. Like, no, it is unacceptable for his work to look like this. Talking about the inflexibility of it. Like, no. It is ugly. It is ugly. Like, you can't expect us to just give money for garbage. So now Brian want to try to lecture us about how we're wrong about it. So basically he's trying to say that when it comes to art, one of the key things, and of course your reaction to any given piece of art is fair enough. If you don't like the piece, I'm certainly not going to tell you how wrong you are. However, I think it's important to at least acknowledge that there's a big difference between saying you don't like a piece of artwork, totally acceptable, and dismissing the piece of artwork entirely because it doesn't fit the form of comic book art that you prefer, much less accept. I think that that's where some reactions to Miller's Wolverine are coming from, and it spots like the inflexibility that often occurs in comic book fandom when it comes to the form of comic book art. No, Brian, that's not an inability. It's just that comic books had a certain level from the beginning all the way till now. Nobody likes sloppy artwork, regardless of DC, Marvel, or whoever. Yes, we're going to dismiss it because it's unacceptable. It is unacceptable. And it's been unacceptable for years. Most of Frank Miller's work nowadays look like somebody shitted it out. And you think that we're supposed to pay $10 to $20 for the variant cover because those variant covers aren't cheap, depending on where you're at in the comic book store and if you're trying to order it. And remember, these retailers have to buy those comic books in bulks in order to get those variant covers. And then if you try to go and buy it personally from his website, then it's another damn cost. That's great that some people want to do it, but most people ain't doing it, especially for this shit, because this artwork is not acceptable, no matter what you want to say. And I don't think we should have to pay for it. And for you to try to sit up there and say that, oh, I'm not trying, but then trying to shame us about it, you are trying to say that we don't have no right to talk about it because it's not our vision of comic book art. It's not the vision for most comic book arts. Hell, you really think that manga could pull that bullshit off? No, not even they could pull that bullshit off. Your characters have to have some kind of form that is appealing to somebody, to most people. This couldn't even pass in Japan. And yes, I know Japan have extrude art and exaggerated poses and everything, but even then, they couldn't never do what Frank Miller did. It is just not appealing. And I'm sorry, you can get mad all you want to and think that that's somebody supposed to just shut up and be okay with it, but no, it's not. Fans have voiced their opinions about Frank Miller's work for years, and yet for some reason DC said, no, we're gonna keep giving them a job. Just like people talked about Riley Rosmo's artwork. There's a lot of comic book artists' work that was talked about, and again, like I said, Japan, you could never get away with that shit, especially if there's major backlash of like, hey, this work is ugly. You know what I'm saying? Or if it's not appealing. And then Brian continues, while Neil Adams is clearly one of the greatest comic book artists of all time, it is interesting to be noted that his influence has been so great that nowadays fandom often tends to treat Adams' approach as the always default house style. Well, you dummy, Marvel and DC did have house styles back in the day, so what it actually should have been house style, because this constant changing the characters with different art styles does get kind of tiring, especially when there's a story that's good, but it's done with terrible artwork. Terrible artwork can really break a story, while good artwork can elevate a bad story. There are some, like Brian Michael Bendis, for God's sakes, his Superman run was garbage, but they had Ivan Reyes on there because Ivan Reyes' artwork was so beautiful that people just was like, wow. But then you put George Romero Jr. on there, and the story's terrible, and George Romero Jr., his artwork has been trashed lately too. It's just like, what the hell are y'all expecting people to do? You expect us to just be okay with it just because these people have names? No, because if it was an average person, if it was somebody that wasn't of noteworthy, y'all would have been trolling. Don't sit up here and pretend like you wouldn't be trolling. And right now, people who try to defend Frank Miller will go and try to go on people's pages like mine who draw sometimes or whatever, and then be like, but that's why your artwork is shit. Oh, so his artwork is okay, but my artwork is not okay because he has a fucking name. No, absolutely not. Absolutely unacceptable. You're not about to sit up here and say, my work is terrible and nobody would buy it anyway, but then when people are saying, hey, Frank Miller's artwork is trash, but you have to buy it because it's Frank Miller and art is subjective. Oh, okay, well, my art is subjective. Buy my shit then. How about that? Yeah, that's what I thought. Now, you ain't gonna do that. You ain't gonna do that, but you sure as mighty hell want to damn talk and tell us what we should and shouldn't do. No, that's not how this shit works. That's not how any of this shit works, okay? I'm just gonna be honest with you. Like, what the hell? Oh, dang it, I meant to not snort. Damn it. I'm sorry. I had lost the line for a second because I was in my little rant thingy. Dean so elegantly pointed out in Adams' obituary in the Comics Journal that his image combined detailed realism and exhilarating dynamics, so that could almost imagine meeting Batman on the streets or squinting up at the stars to see the Avengers mixing it up with the alien Mars. Obviously, comic book art is inherently not realistic, but more realistic than less detailed art. In other words, there is an understanding that detail equals better, which that is damn true. People love a good detailed, drawn out comic book. That's just the truth. However, through comic book history, there are glaring examples where artists evolve from their detailed intro art that is just as good, if not better, than their original art style. For instance, the look of the original art style, comic book world of David Michelinti on Daredevil. His art on Daredevil 216, where he began to ink his work. It's an excellent detail page, and it's fixed within that detailed approach Adams made so popular. However, as time has gone by, his career has evolved, and now you get works like Pilotis, which of course is very detailed on its own, but not the lines in the comic books. Oh God. Pilotis is clearly not realistic, and it's obviously not inherited detail work, but it's still clearly excellent artwork. No, the fuck it's not. No, the hell it's not. It's an indie book too, and that's why the fuck the shit ain't fucking selling. Nobody want this slop piece of shit. Holy crap! Like, what the fuck? He's trying to pick like these artists who first start off with Marvel, who did amazing work, and then after they leave Marvel, they do like this sloppy bullshit ass artwork for their indie stuff, and then wonder why people aren't doing it. Like, no, I'm not even about to sit up here and damn read the rest of this shit. Like, no, absolutely not. This is unacceptable that the artwork that they've done after they stopped doing their comic book style or whatever, because they quote unquote tried to evolve, is ugly and people are tired of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. You can't get mad at that. But to wrap this up, it says, however, with Frank Miller's recent work, it is clear that he is doing a different approach now that he did it back in the past. And honestly, I think there's something to be said for the fact that perhaps occasional variants are not the best place to introduce this new approach by Miller to the fandom. But it's always something just as clear that Miller is simply doing a different artistic approach. And it's not in case his style breaking down or him losing it. No, it's breaking down and it's him losing it. He's doing something different. Yeah, making people be like, what the fuck are you doing? It's unappealing. You don't have to like this new style. I think it's cool, but you don't have to like it. But at the same time, you can't compare his completely different approach to art now with his past work and try to draw a comparison in a straightforward way. Any more than you can compare Michelini's Daredevil and Asteroid Moloiding. And says one is detailed, which is better. You have to be more flexible and allow for the fact that comic book art comes in different forms and adjust your takes accordingly. No, the hell we don't. This is superhero comic books. I expect my superhero comic books to have some good detail in it. I'm sorry. With legendary artists like Ed Bennis, you have Jim Lee, you have Todd McFarlane, you have Rob Liefeld, you have Ivan Reyes as one, Jason Fabok. You have Michael Turner, just to name a few artists. Right now, oh God, I'm so pissed the fuck off right now with this bullshit that I can't even think about the list of George Perez. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got legendary artists like this who do amazing work. You know what I mean? And we're sitting up here trying to pretend like, oh, we have to adjust our takes accordingly because we want our comic books to look good. We want our comic books to have the detail that a lot of us have now grown up on. the comic book industry have evolved, and sorry, the evolution of it is good looking artwork with good detail. Sorry, you don't like it. That's just the truth. But we don't have to adjust our takes accordingly. Matter of fact, DC needs to hire people that the average person would like to look at their artwork, because a lot of people do realize that the comic book artwork sells the books, not the other way around. You know what I'm saying? Could you imagine if we had like about 6 to 12 of people who can do Alex Ross artwork doing comic books monthly? Oh my God, I would die in heaven. You know what I'm saying? But you don't see shit like that no more. You don't see the Jim Lees. You don't see the Rob Liefelds. You don't see the George Perez. You don't see the Neil Adams. You don't see those people anymore. You be lucky if you get some. You know what I mean? And then you think that we're supposed to just shut up and just accept that shit? Nah, kiss my ass, Brian. Kiss my ass, Brian. How about that? With your lame ass steak. But those are my thoughts. Tell me what you guys think in the comments section below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.